Welcome. This is a self-reflection channel. We've asked 3 people a self-reflection question to be vulnerable, to allow you to have the opportunity to see yourself and not be alone in this journey of life, and have the opportunity to grow. Let's begin. Are you able to speak up for yourself?
Oh yeah. I don't even have to close my eyes and think about that answer. Yes.
That one, it's funny, that one doesn't take as much thought as the other questions.
So, little backstory. When I was younger, I was super outspoken and you know how kids are, just real blunt. Like I was one of them kids. And from, a family and, just elders and stuff like that. Oh, you got a smart mouth, you got this, you got that, you always got something to say. And I feel like that caused me to just be quiet for a moment. Like, I wouldn't speak my mind for a super long time. I just keep whatever I had to say to myself because it was always, you got a smart mouth, you got, just kind of like being down talked, or you got a better word for that?
No, I don't. I think, or did they take away your voice?
I think so. I think that's exactly what it was. It kind of that's exactly, and I feel like that's exactly what they wanted. It's like, oh, we got this little smart girl, and she's sticking up for herself. She do this, she do that. Let's shut it up ASAP.
Yeah.
And it was that for the longest. And I feel like when elders and parents and stuff, when they do that, they don't only teach you to be quiet within them, but it's like with whoever you come across, whether that's your friends or your teachers or anybody, So that's one thing I won't teach my kids. Like, if you feel some type of way, you should say it, because I see the bad that it actually did. Like, they thought that it was keeping me safe and stuff like that, but I think it did more bad than good. So now that I know that and I see that for myself, and I see that the bad that it did, now I'm becoming more outspoken and loud and being able to really express how I feel. And it was more so, what used to stop me was also okay, I gotta work on my delivery too, because I know this is not, however I say it is not how I mean it. So, if you ask me how I felt about you, or if somebody asked me how did I feel about them, I would be like, okay, it might not come off the way you want to hear it, but I can only say it the best way I know how. Are you ready for that? Okay, and I would just say it. I was like, it might have came off bad, but I promise I didn't mean it like that. So I think what helps is just tone, my tone and my delivery and things of that nature. So, yeah. I was.
Do you feel that the adults around you, do you feel that as a child you were more aware of what your truth was more than the adults that were around you? And your truth challenged them in a way they didn't want to be challenged?
Definitely. I feel like even when I was younger, I was always ahead of my time. Maybe, or I was always just more so mature. And I don't know where that came from. I used to always question myself, who am I really? Who am I?
Oh, really?
So,
Fair enough.
That's funny. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. But I feel like it always scared adults in a way. I still feel like that kind of.
Okay.
Now in life, yes, I'm really learning how to speak up and use my voice and hear my voice, because as a kid, especially in Black households, stay in the child's place, don't talk when grown folks is talking. But I had so many opinions, and I didn't have a lot of children around me. There's a lot of adults. So I was learning how to grow up pretty fast, and I was smart, and I caught on to things pretty easily. So it was a lot of you don't know what you're talking about. It's actually, I have a valid point, So I've definitely felt pretty invalidated. And my family wasn't necessarily, that I was raised with, which predominantly was my mom's side. They weren't very artistically inclined. So I was kind of more of a joke, you know, like
Oh,
it was more like she's smart, but she really thinks she's about to go do this art thing. And they're like, well, ask me questions like, how do you gonna think you're gonna make money off of that? And just didn't really feel seen or heard or supported in that time frame. So I lost my voice. By the time I got to high school, I would say my self-esteem level was like at an all-time low. I remember in high school, I remember almost running into older kids because I used to walk on my head down, and I just walk really fast and just try to make it to class or make it back home. And that was like my 9th grade year. And then more and more I kind of opened up. But then, of course, societal pressures in school and body image, especially being a woman and a black woman, like you get kind of just get all of these very misconstrued aspects about you. And then it was also taught that like men don't like a woman that's really smart or talks a lot or speaks her opinion. Like you want to be like kind of more docile so you can get a good man and have a nice home and do all that stuff. And it was just like, there's just this part of me that I kept trying to make be quiet. It was like, fuck that, you know? Like, I don't know if we can cuss on here, but it was like, forget that, you know?
Be sincere, be sincere. Thank you.
So, you know, as I get older and I start to listen to the more spiritual side of myself, that voice, I think it's different for each woman. I think that there's a great book called Women Who Runs with Wolves. Amazing book. Like I've read it cover to cover and cry every time, you know. That just talks about there's so many different spectrums to being a woman and what that means. And some women are more soft-spoken and really more docile, and that fits their nature. And some women are just have more energy to them, more of that kind of rough, I don't want to say rough, but more of that nature aspect, to where when I think about nature and Mother Nature, I don't always think soft, you know. I definitely think very just tough and strong. I think about like the way they talk about goddesses, or especially people like Kali, you know, when you think about real goddess energy, like, oh, she was wild, you know. So when I think about my voice, I feel that energy, but sometimes I'm trying to put myself more in a societal box. So lately I've been learning to speak up, even if I know it makes other people feel uncomfortable or that they don't really want to listen, because I can kind of pick up on how people are perceiving me intuitively based on like their body language and just things I pick up and hear and see, and to keep talking anyways, you know, and know that my voice is valuable, you know. So once I really got to that, or getting to that point, because there's still times where I will kind of put myself in a corner, but when I actually do it the right way, like, yeah, it's a pretty powerful voice in there.
You know, for people that are going to be viewing this, they're not going to be able to see the whole body reaction I had to her saying valuable, because that's the word that I thought is, you know, and it's truly so true, is that your voice is so valuable. And I think it's safe to say inside of black households, Christianity is dominant. Oh, yeah. And inside of a black household, it's interesting to see that a book that teaches, that says that women are the presence of the father for times of distress. You know, they're the defense. And even when people commonly quote like a Proverbs 31 woman, she's a, you know, that they are, or something nature of that. That woman's a business owner. She cooks meals for her servants, and her servants run her household. You know what I'm saying? That how can there not be a scale of a woman? Right. You know, right. Like, you know, some might be a little bit softer. Some might had a little dog in it, you know, right. You know, and it's okay to have a little dog in you. You know what I'm saying? It's all about balance, especially with the partner that you choose. Yeah. Now, in everything that you said, I think you brought up a very interesting point, and makes me ask a question to you. How many children do you think? Well, let's be more. I'll be specific for what you just said, but then you can give a general answer for all children. But how many children do you feel have lost their voice in Black households?
That number, I probably couldn't even fathom it, you know, at the scale of how many Black people I encounter. Mm-hmm. I think when I first started really taking my art seriously was like mostly in part because of like my father, you know, he was like, go ahead and do it. You're the most talented person ever. So once I went out there in the world, I was like, my daddy told me I'm the best, you know. So when I was doing art, I would say my roommates it was like 50-50 Black and white, but a lot of people, and 50-50 Black and white that came through the door. And we say this now because it's legal, but we sold like weed and stuff like that. Yeah. So everybody would come over, do a little art. We had like a drum set and mic all set up in our living room. So when black people would come over, it was this response to, but hey, you want to sit down and art with us? You know, that was a part of the whole thing. Like, you can buy some weed and you can sit and you can chill. We were right on Wayne State's campus. And the Black people would always be like, nah, or I remember one dude just straight up told me, he was like, I don't do that, I hoop. I'm like, you can do both? He was like, nah. Okay, so he bought his weed, he left, you know, come back every couple of weeks or whatever. And one time he came in and we all smoking and stuff. He like, I mean, I guess I'll say for a little bit, he was like, if you stay, you got to do a piece of art. It doesn't matter what it is, you can do it. We literally don't care. He like thought about it and he's like, all right, I don't know. I can't draw or no shit. We were just like, we got this magazine. We cutting out stuff for collaging. Like, you just want to like, you can paint on this magazine and we can collage, you know, and just like him sitting down reprehensive and then smoking and then unloosening. And then it was just like, yo, this shit fun as hell. You know, his reaction. And I'm watching him. I'm just like, you having a good time, you know. And I think that's my most prime example of making you believe that your voice, your sense of purpose is not valid, especially if it's outside of the context of making money or, like you said, like kind of supporting the Christian basis of the household and upholding those morals. But other than that, like, you don't really have an expression. We were, me and my boyfriend were talking about this the other day, that the freedom that young white kids get to after high school to go and explore themselves. Like, I'm just going to go find myself. And me and my brother, Black kids, were afforded that because of our father, and our father's side of the family was like, yeah, go find yourself. That's what that's what he did. You know, he went to New York and found himself and bounced around and did all these things. Like, so we knew immediately how privileged we were, you know, and we have this running joke, me and my brother, because when he started dating, and when both of us started dating, we would always hear people like, you different, or y'all like different. And we would always joke, like, it just people saying that to us. We like, what are they talking about? But then we think about it, you know, we're like, oh, compared to your upbringing, we are different, you know? So I hope that if I do have children one day, that they definitely feel like they have some type of a voice. But I think that it's a great scale, a large number of Black people, young Black kids that I don't think have a voice coming out of a household.
I think I might have to agree with you.
Yeah.
So thank you for your answer. I really appreciate. I really enjoy your breakdown of your process, and I think so many people can relate. Just like that, the young Black basketball player that came in, it's like this. I get to be more than the support that I receive. I get to be the things that are small to everyone else but are sincere to me. You know, and I think that exercise sounds like a beautiful self-expression that you guys have when cutting out magazines and whatnot. Who are you not able to speak up for yourself to?
My kids.
Why?
Why? It goes all back to the whole horrible mother feeling, is the resistance, and now wanting to get into the back and forth of explaining myself. Because I'm mom, like using the term my parents use with me, like because I'm the mom, like, because I said so, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. So, yeah, they're the only ones where I think, yeah, they're the only ones.
Okay.
It's funny. It's still the family members I talked about previously, my mom's side of the family. They still have that kind of Black Christian household fear God mentality in me, and they're the people that I do want to say, like, hey, I forgive you, but you definitely stifled my voice growing up, or you definitely could have spent a little extra time when I was showing interest in the arts, taking me to programs or showing an interest or not laughing at me, And I think that I have a hard time expressing that. Like if I get on that side of the family, I don't really say much. I don't speak up very much. Like I have a hard time expressing myself to them specifically. And then just in general, if I don't feel well received or like I'm of value, I have a hard time expressing myself because I go back to that little kid feeling, and it's funny when they talk about like childhood wounds and childhood traumas and all of that stuff. When you start working with it, you actually do start to feel like a kid when these triggers come up. You know it's real because you're like, why do I feel so small and insignificant? And you're like, oh, that's like a child would feel, So if I'm in any situation like that, I have to really make a conscious effort not to shrink myself.
Okay. Be it so. Say for instance, let's hypothetically, you speak up to your mother's side of the family, and they disregard your feelings. You say like, I really wish you could have supported me, and blah blah blah, and blase 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 blah, and they say no. How would you respond? How would that make you feel? How would you respond? How would you feel?
I would definitely be hurt. But I think I would be more hurt that I would be expecting that answer. I would expect that kind of lack of ownership. And it's because, though, I know that things have hurt them. That's what helped me forgive them. When I look back on their life, I was like, oh, yeah, I would have behaved this exact same way, if I had their life. So I think it would hurt me the most that I would expect that answer and that they wouldn't grow from hearing my answer. That they wouldn't be like, oh, wow, I guess XYZ, because their own pain is blocking it out. They can't accept my answer, forgive themselves because I've forgiven them. And then we move past it, like I don't think they've been to any of my like art shows. They're like, oh, good job, but they don't really take it seriously. Like when I tell them, like when I was doing photography full time, like and stuff before COVID, it was like, okay, but what do you do for work? And I was like, that is work, that can't process or register in their mind. So I think that just them not being able to accept it and forgive themselves and learn and grow at their age would be kind of disappointing and disappointing. Like I said, that I would expect that to be the answer.
Okay, thank you. I think you being disappointed for the expectation and like bothers you. That's a very interesting take. It's just like of a way to respond. There's no right or wrong. It's just how it permeates your body, and it's something to take in.
Yeah.
And I would say, especially with your mother's family, it's hard to believe outside of your own experiences, and if you aren't allowed if your father worked, since we're in Detroit, Michigan of the United States, since if our forefathers worked at the plant,
which my dad did,
and you work at the plant your whole life, and somebody says, you actually can make money selling stuff to the plant. What? Well, I can't sell. Nobody can do that until it's shown. So I think that's a dilemma now.
I mean, I think that really comes. My bad. Why am I saying my bad to the microphone? I think it really depends on if I really care about like the situation. So it's like, okay, if I don't care about something or, you know, whatever, I probably won't say nothing. I probably might just brush it out to the side.
Yeah.
But if I care, then yeah, I'll speak about it.
Okay.
If not, it's like a
So
situation.
so there's no specific person, it's more so just people in general?
It's like
is it generality?
Yeah, like a situation thing, you know.
Okay.
It's not a lot of stuff that get under my skin for real. So even with this, like I was telling myself, like, okay, even if you don't care, don't let nobody play with you, you know? Even if you don't care, still say something, because at the end of the day, you teaching people how to treat you.
Yes.
And if like you don't care about this,
Yes.
you might not care about that, and they're
Yes.
gonna keep on just going and going and going.
Yes.
So you have to like nip things in the bud, whether you care or not.
Yes.
It's
I love that answer. I really do. Okay. So you know, you have this mentality that, you know, you're going to speak up even if you don't care about it. So what is the thing that drives you to speak up in those situations that you don't care about? What is the thing? Is the biggest thing that the biggest factor of you not speaking up is a situation you don't care about? What is the thing that pushes you to actually speak up?
even if I don't care about
Even
it.
if you don't care. Thank you.
Just, like I said, you know, just teaching people how to treat you, how to speak to you.
So it's a standard that you're setting.
It's bingo.
Okay.
Simply put.
Okay.
You know, they say women talk a lot and men men know how to simplify things easier, and I
Yeah.
noticed that. So this is off topic, but
No.
sometimes I be trying to like watch how men talk and see how they simplify things. Or if I do, like you ask me a question and maybe I answer, I would try to think like, how would a man answer this? He would simplify it. He would put it in the simplest way.
Wow.
And I try to do that because like I said earlier, like, am I running off? Like I hear myself, it's like I'm going
you
in
haven't ran off
circles.
at all. Like actually, you've been every question you've been right.
Yeah. So I don't know if you ever paid attention, but women talk a lot, and I don't want to be that. I just want to be able to get straight to the point. So that's something I'm working on. Not that you asked. See what I mean? I'm going on.
No, but even in your going on about, it's more so you're openly reflecting as you're processing. And I feel like that's okay. I think sometimes the going on and on, if I understand you correctly when it comes to women, is more so there's no purpose. Or it's a situation that has already been discussed and a solution isn't wanted.
Definitely.
So now it's a going on. But in this moment, you're pondering for a solution.
Definitely.
So everything that you're doing is productive.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it seems like you're mastering your own lesson.
I'm trying.
It seems like you're
I'm
doing.
trying, literally.
Yeah,
Like
you're doing well. I mean, it's even. I think just the perspective what you just gave is rare. I don't know if I've ever came across a woman who wanted to adopt an aspect of another sex that they felt valuable. Like I've heard men say more so maybe, I'm going to adopt the softness of a woman, or a woman saying my husband or my spouse has told me that I need to be a little bit more quiet on things, or be a little bit more patient, but not to actually adopt the mentality.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah, I try to pay attention to like a lot of men that I would come across. Sometimes I may even ask you a question just to see how short or how simple this answer is going to be.
Yeah.
Or how different our answers will be.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty doggone cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Like, yeah, okay, this would be my answer. Like,
Yeah.
what's a good example?
So, no, keep going.
What's a good example? Go ahead, ask your question.
No, it wasn't a question. I was going to say a statement.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. State.
I'm just saying, like, if brothers watch this, they're going to try to figure out who you are. They're going to be like...
I'm still trying to understand it, honestly.
I mean, I know she's in a relationship, but can I get that number though?
I'm not in a relationship.
Or I'm in a beginning stage relationship. Can I get that number though?
I'm just dating. I'm just seeing what I like, what I don't like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So I think that was you keep on going though.
So yeah.
If you had anything else to say.
No, because it was like an example. Like I don't know. It's like, yeah, I think that's really important though. Like learning how to simplify things and get straight to the point. And cause you ever hear somebody like how females women talk to each other and like, now mind you, and then and blah 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 blah. Men like the men that I encounter, they rarely do that, and it's like. I want to be able to do that. Just go straight through, get straight to the point. You know.
I don't know. I think we just found gold.
That's silly.
Okay, so
that is silly.
Thank you for allowing us into your process. Okay,
You're very welcome.
It was wonderful.
You're very welcome.
All right, so thank you.
You're welcome.
What would it take for you to speak up for yourself to them?
A lot. Yeah, I think.
Hey, close your eyes, think about it.
Yeah. Some really harsh words.
Really?
Yes.
Why
and
harsh
and
words?
harsh words because harsh words is what I grew up with. And growing up with verbal abuse, you tend to not want to take that from anybody. I love my kids, and I think as parents, our kids are able to get away with a lot more than other adults could, even family members. So they tend to get more. They tend to walk on, parents a little bit more than other people do, and we tend not to want to break that. Like, okay, so I don't want to break that relationship, and if I speak up for myself, she's gonna get pissed, and then oh my god, it's a vicious cycle. But there's been a few times, very rare, where things were said, and I was able to be like, hey, okay, like, this is a line that was crossed, and we need to go back. But not often, and not often.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing, because what I hear, is that one of the reasons why, what I hear, and you tell me if I'm wrong, what I hear is one of the reasons why you aren't able to speak up to your children is because the option that you believe as effective for speaking up is harsh words. And you love your children too much to allow them to live in the same experience.
Yes.
Okay. So with that, yes, what I would love to position is that what truly allows for somebody to change more than harshness, because I would say even in your life, harshness may make you afraid, but it might make you stop and pause, but it doesn't fix. And the real thing is love. And love is discipline, but it's also vulnerability. I would say one of the reasons why your kids know that they can say, "Mom, come on now, Mom," is because they know you care. Yeah. And if you speak from that heart of care, they'll know, like, this woman is being serious right now. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, in it, like, that was just an idea, but in it, I feel like you don't have to be harsh to rule your household. You can be stern, you can be powerful and loving all at the same time.
Oh yeah, I don't mean I would be harsh when they say harsh words to me. So the harsh words that they say to me, I don't speak up for. I just let it go.
I misunderstood.
So
tell me.
So it's more harsh words. It's like they know what to say to get under my skin.
Like what? If you don't mind.
So, if I don't mind sharing. So a cruel word would be, because I am divorced, so I don't want to live with you anymore. I want to live with Dad. That's harsh. As a mother, that's heartbreaking. Like, I know they love their father, I do, and I'm glad they do, and I'm glad they have a great relationship with him. But to say that is hurtful. And if anybody else had said that, like, I would rather hang out with your ex-husband than you, I'd be like, oh, fine, like, go for it and have a nice life. They say that, and the reaction is like, oh, I can't say anything, and it just hurts. So that's where I don't speak up for myself. My reaction of late has been, after a year and a half of hearing harsh words, is to stop and then, with love, like you said, with love and vulnerability, just state, like, what you said hurts me. And I love you, but it's not nice. And I am your mother, and I am the only person you could say this to without them turning around and telling you what to do with yourself. So I think that in itself took a very long time for me to learn, you know, not just through the divorce, but having, you know, I have teenage kids, so it's taken that long for me to say, all right, this is, I love you, but you are me. So that's where I'm starting to show them a little bit of
that is beautiful. And
You know, just if I could speak on this, I would say, you know, all answers sometimes are the same, and the thing is like, even though you're, you know, what I've learned from children of divorce is that, you know, it's an emotional grab. To control. It's I want what I want.
I want to poke you.
Like, you know, it's like, I'm gonna cause you pain. I'm gonna go stay with dad for a week so you can
So you just wallow in it.
So you can wallow.
Yeah, so you could just, I know you're gonna be in the ball crying in the corner. Like,
and the thing is, it's like this, you know, it's so also awesome when we own it. As you said, like, how this hurts you, it's like this, you know, it's like this, you know, your words hurt and this, but guess what? Maybe you need to go stay with your dad for a week. And then when you learn how to respect, you can come back over here. And then that sets that tone where they know mom is not to be messed with because we can't poke anymore. If you take away the poking, then they listen. So then you deal with all the other stuff.
And that's the next step.
Thank you so much for your answer. What would it take for you to speak up to your mother's family?
If I had a child of my own. If I had a child of my own.
Talk about it.
Because I would definitely want them to be a part of my kid's life, but I would advocate for my child 100%. You know, I think that's probably one of my biggest fears is having kids. Like, that's probably, most people's like, skydiving, jumping off. Mine is like babies, you know, because like you have to take this level of responsibility and maturity and love, like, that we never really have to undertake. Like, we get in these relationships and we have friends, but the minute they do something we don't like, we're like, oh, I'm out. You know, with a kid, no, you're not out. You know what I mean? Like, you're in it forever, you know, and even past that whole 18 thing, you in it way past 18, you know? So for me, I want my child to know that they're supported and that they have a voice and that whoever they are is going to be wholeheartedly accepted. That's why I said I would never have a partner who has strong biases against certain things, because my child is not going to feel uncomfortable in their own home. And if they're going to be, that side of the family is going to be in my child's life, you're not going to disrespect them, or you're going to have me to deal with, because I won't have that fear anymore. If it comes to myself and I have to protect my inner child, there's wounding there, so I may have trouble protecting her against them. But this child, no, we can go outside. We can catch these hands, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but
lovely.
if we go to that level of extreme, but just really putting my foot down and setting an example, because kids learn their sense of value from us. You know, so a grown person with low self-esteem didn't just get there overnight. They were put in that position. They were groomed into that position. They had experiences where nobody said, hey, you're beautiful and amazing and wonderful. And we as adults have to tell ourselves that now. But I want a child that knows that. And when they come up against that struggle, which it can't stop their struggles, they'll have a foundation to fall back on and be like, oh, wait, no, my mom said that ain't true. I don't have to know.
Yes.
It would be in that understanding, because I think a lot of Black households transfer like their sense of discipline and treatment over to the grandkids. You know, it's like, oh, if they got whoopings and they couldn't do this, then your kid, no. Because you can also just not be a part of the child's life. And that's okay. And I'll still love you, but you just won't be a part of my child's life if you can't accept them for who they are wholeheartedly and have their own voice. You know, it's not like, oh, shut up, you in grown folks' business. No, what's your point? You know, so I can tell you if you right or wrong, just like one of these adults, you know, and let you feel confident in your space in the world.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So one thing, you know, in hearing everything that you said, you know, there's this saying that said it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And I think that, you know, from listening to you, if I heard you correctly, you know, one of the things that you notice that one of your biggest fears is to have children. And connected to that is the responsibility. But one of the biggest responsibilities is, you know, those who are most intimate to you, the way that they respond to your children. Right? You know, if that was handled, your family, if you had that conversation or begin to have that conversation, begin those modalities or the walking things out in the way they need to be walked out, then that desire for children could be a lot softer.
Yeah.
You know? And so with your agreement, I just want to encourage you to have that conversation so you can, because one thing that falls on the end of it is this. You can change in those moments, and everybody, a lot of people, when they have kids, they get bold, you know. But that doesn't mean that the family won't still try tricks.
Right. Because
you haven't solidified your stance and they don't know who you are. So by solidifying the tricks are a lot more hesitant.
I agree. Yeah, okay. I agree. I definitely think just personal times, not just during this interview, like, because I still have a hard time kind of going over there and having conversations, and I just find that I'm always making an excuse when it comes time to visit or birthday stuff. I always have an excuse, and I was like, one day I was like, that's not by accident. You feel uncomfortable, you know, and just realizing that because I do want to embrace them because they're getting older, you know, and I do think about that because I just recently lost my grandmother on my dad's side, and I was just like, so this is what people mean by that. Feeling like, oh, I wish I was there a little bit more, you know, but I have to still overcome my issues that I have with them, because I'm not also going to break my boundary because I'm scared that I might not get to say everything to them before they pass. So for me, it's kind of having that conversation with myself and just getting prepared mentally to have that and to deal with, like you said, deal with it how it comes up. So yeah, I think that's a good suggestion.
Man, I appreciate this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time out. Is there anything else you want to say?
No.
Okay, well, cool. So yeah, that's all right. That's it for this question. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you for watching. If you would like to begin or continue your journey of healing through impactful questions and biblical meditation, we have developed a book to do just that. If you would like to begin one-on-one coaching or learn about our group offerings, please fill out the survey link for that in the description, and a member of our team will reach out to you. If you would like to answer questions and be a part of a future video, there's a link in the description to reach out. So with that, let's grow.